Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Road to GM. In this episode, we are covering my third round game tournament that I'm currently playing in Madrid, Spain. It's the third round, like I just said. I've got 1.5 out of 2. It's been a great start. I defeated the top player in the section, Tomas Sosa, Grandmaster from Argentina with the black pieces. And then I drew Pepe Cuenca. And I mean, you can't really ask for much better. Shout out to my good friend and roommate, International Master Alex Ostrovsky, here with me at the event, who escaped the reflection of the recap. In the third round, I was playing a strong player, Diego Macias Pino, who is a 17-year-old, 2470 rated player with 2 GM norms. In fact, before the event, my coach said this was probably the best player in the section. Like, despite there being a couple of high-rated people, this guy's 17, he's young, he's clearly getting better all the time. So I got to work. Now, quickly going to go back to full screen here for a second. Friendly reminder that we are having a 5-day long, now at this point there's only about 3.5 days remaining, community challenge on Chessly. Please go participate. If you have a course, it's free. If you don't have a course, you can try the free samples and do some drills. And the point of the community challenge is to score points as a unit, as a community, and unlock cool rewards. And if you make it to the end, you will unlock a new Levi bot. So, also, shout out to all the amazing Patreon subscribers. They got this recap a little bit early with some interesting insights. So, appreciate all of your support for Road to GM. And this is round number 3. So, Diego is very good. And my opening repertoire of d4, c4, or knight f3 for classical chess works really well against him. He's really good. He has a lot of good openings, but he has one massive problem. Against d4, he likes to play knight f6, e6, d5. But against c4, he likes to play e5 straight away. And when you have those two put together, if you play an opening with white where you do not rush with the move d4, you're going to get some good results, which is why I played knight f3. I noticed he doesn't do well against knight f3. And I literally learned a full opening, the ready, just for him and also for the future. So like knight f3, g3, bishop g2, castles, followed by d4 or c4. So like the way people play this usually with black, if they are a sort of a e6, d5 players, they play something like this and bishop e7, and they kind of hope that white plays some sort of regular queen's pawn. And he's played this, and he's then mixed it up. He mixed it up again. He played knight d7. I was really surprised by this move. I was not expecting it, obviously. I didn't know what to expect. His opening repertoire against the ready is very all over the place. But I do have the unique experience of playing this move myself. I've actually played knight d7 several times in classical chess. And the idea is basically to threaten e5, so white commits d4, and then go here and in a very unorthodox way stop white from playing c4. Now, black loses 2 moves doing this, but is saying it might be worth it. Now, I stopped playing this system with black because I got destroyed in 2021 in a classical chess game against International Master Safal Bora in a game that's right here. It's the same position. Now, watch what I did in this game, mirroring what Safal did against me. And this is kind of the fascinating thing about chess. So I went bishop g2, he went bishop f5. It's better to develop the bishop. I played a4 threatening a5. He played a5 himself. It's good to include those moves according to the engine. You give black kind of an overcommitment. And so here, I didn't know the difference between knight c3 and castles. All I knew is at some point I go knight h4 and I challenge his bishop. Maybe even now. But I castled because I thought, I spent like 4 minutes or so, but I thought, okay, like what could possibly be more natural than castling? And then he went e6, which is clever. He's not playing this yet. And then I played knight c3 to stop bishop e4. And now I'm ready to play knight h4. He goes here, also very clever, stopping knight h4. But now, I'm going to go e4. And he can't let me open up the center like this because my bishop is going to get too strong. So he goes knight f6 and I go knight h4. And he can probably run away, but then I'm going to go, h3. I'm going to chase him maybe queen d3, something like this. And his bishop is a bit offside. And, I'm going to be taking it pretty soon. So he went here, take. And during the game, I said, I'm going to play queen d3, just like Safal did against me. And there's a major difference between how Safal played this and how I played this. Safal never played bishop g2 and castle. He immediately went for the bishop. And I had forgotten that crucial detail. Actually, during my game, I straight up thought I was playing exactly the way Safal played against me. Kind of. There was a chance that we got to a very similar looking position, except the bishop, you'll see. So, Safal took, went here, defended. And the only difference between the way I played it and what could have happened in this game is the fact that Safal's rook is here, right? Or, let's fast forward a move, like rook e1 and castles. So the difference is literally the placement of the bishop. Now, what's funny is, after I played queen d3 in my game against Diego, I completely thought I was following the Safal game. I wasn't exactly following it, because obviously Safal had not moved the rook, and also the bishop was there. But I thought all of this was very reasonable. But the way Safal played it was slightly better. He never actually committed the rook move. But I was happy, and I thought he has to go g6, and then I have the two bishops, so I'm going to try to, very slowly expand. I'll play b3 to control his queen side, and, we'll slowly play. Then he went knight e4, and I had prepared that in my head that this move was just bad. And it was bad because the point is I can't take with my queen because I get x-rayed, right, on b4, skewered. So my original intention was to move my knight back and then kick him out and slowly unravel. But I realized I can play f3 and actually take with the pawn. And the point is now he's hanging here and I'm going to play e4. I mean, he basically let me play f3, which prepares e4. And I need to open up my bishops. And by the way, just a quick point, one of the things my coach, Latvian Grandmaster Arturs Neiksons, has talked about is my inability to correctly utilize the bishop pair. And when I played like this, I was thinking, oh, I'm just going to play e4. I mean, you have to open the position. I'm utilizing the bishop pair. I've uploaded a bunch of these lessons on the Patreon and a few on this YouTube channel as well as previews. And I thought, well, what better way, right? So here I was thinking, can he maybe defend his pawn and attack my pawn? But I thought this was very bad. I thought I would be playing e4 here, and if he takes, I take on d5, and I get this, massive cluster with open rooks, and it's a very weird position, but I definitely thought I was doing well. But, computer says b5, and, black can fight for equality, but yeah, I was pretty happy. And then he went here, and I played e4, and he took, and then he played rook e8 and offered me a draw. So first of all, offering a draw is not allowed in this tournament before the 30th move, which is actually a really nice way to combat 7-move draws that you frequently see at closed events, if people don't want to play. Of course, if two people want, they'll speak before the game and say, do you want to make a draw? And then that person will say yes, and then they will just, repeat moves. They will play a variation where you repeat moves. This might sound like match fixing to you. Yeah, that's because it sort of is, but chess kind of has this tradition. Chess tournaments like this, are a grandmaster norm round robin. There is no incentive for the grandmasters to play this tournament except to get paid some money. So they don't really care about playing each other much. So especially if they're friends, they will frequently just make a draw. Norm seekers, people like myself, you're not going to see me go in and make a draw in 15 moves by repetition. I didn't prearrange that. If it happens, it happens. But it does happen. And he offered me a draw, which I thought was funny because he's also much worse. His position is also pretty bad. I also just realized there was no eval bar. So now you know. Yeah, it's plus 1.5. And the point is basically that I'm just going to take. Now, I spent a good amount of time here taking on d5. I wanted to explore my options. And here I spent in the next two moves, I spent 27 minutes. That's because it's a very rich position, and I was looking at the right way forward. If this was blitz, I would have played this move in a minute, so I should not have spent this much time. But essentially, the first thing I thought here is I can play queen b5 right away, and I calculated queen b5, knight c3, And then rather than taking on b7 and, giving up the d4 pawn with check, I thought I can trap his knight. But in a ridiculous turn of events, he's not trapped. Like, his knight looks completely stuck. If he takes on e1, I play, I even have like rook e1, and he has knight a4, and then this maybe, and I was calculating, but none of this works because after queen b5, knight c3, I calculated this, queen c4. Here, he has a miracle knight e2 check, and suddenly I cannot take everything because at the end he has queen takes pawn, hitting both of these pieces. Like rook takes, I stop defending my rook. So I saw that didn't work. So then my coach's advice was kind of going through my head, and it was like, just take it slow. Take it slow. So I thought about bishop d2. I mean, what could be more natural? But somehow after c6, I just thought, like, where's my advantage? I know I'm better, but I'm going to play rook b1. He's going to go, like, where's my advantage? I mean, I don't see. So what's my plan? Like, I'm better, but what's my plan? And I came up with a plan. I played rook b1, rook b8. And then I played c4, and I thought this was very clever. The computer has, by the way, I can win a pawn here. Queen d5, rook b5, it's a fork. I rejected this because a pawn is not worth a pawn here. This position is very bad for white. I mean, my rook suddenly is offside. It's completely in a bad spot. I'm up a pawn, which, you'd think looks good. This was my backup plan, but I'm very glad I didn't go for it because after something like bishop d6, I'm not better. It's kind of crazy. Like, I'm up a pawn, but I'm not any better because he's just, I calculated this. The real reason it's kind of, instructive is that this is such a big weakness and my rook is sort of like jammed. And if I play, rook f1, he even, he can create some counterplay. Like, he has a lot of stability now that I cashed out the bishop for the knight. The computer likes rook e5, and then it wants me to take the knight. This is a very different version because now b5 is very weak. So like rook b5, and this actually is findable, but I didn't want to give up the bishop for the knight, so I went c4, induced this, and played queen d2. And my plan was to move this blob forward, controlling all of the central squares, making it really difficult for him to move his pieces. I was very happy with this idea, c4, queen d2. I thought it was very sophisticated. The only reason I burned a lot of time is it felt very slow, and was a little bit worried I was missing something. He played bishop f6, which makes sense. I traded rooks, then I played c3, and he went knight c6. It's instructive that if he goes knight a6 and continues to have this attack on this pawn, even a move like queen d1, white is just dominating. This knight is never re-entering the game. Ever. And, I'll slowly make progress. I might even play queen b3, queen b5. Like, it's a really bad position. So he went knight c6. And so now, I'm down 28 minutes on the clock, but I have a better position. What's my plan, though? I know I got to activate these three pieces. Here, he actually saw the best plan for me. He didn't tell me it during the game. And I felt like at this point, I needed to not think for like 15 minutes again, because I already spent a bunch of time. So in about a minute, I played bishop a3. I mean, what could be more natural than developing the bishop to the entire diagonal? Well, as it turns out, it was a good move, but queen f2 is even better. And the idea is just very simply to take the bishop to this diagonal. And this is very good for white, this version. And yeah, point being, I don't really have to rush. I can play like queen f3, queen d5. I can trade his queen and I can just slaughter his queen side. And it's almost undefendable. He has to obviously not trade queens and try to create counterplay. I can play h4, put my king on h2, like very slowly. And yeah, this would have been quite nice. What I did, I thought also made some sense. The idea was that if he wants to trade, I'm going to play rook e1. He went here. And I activated my queen to the most active square. I mean, again, what could be more natural? And so here I started like planning, what's my 5 to 10 year plan, become GM. But also like, what do I do in this position? I have all my pieces to their maximum. But if I give him a few moves, he's going to go knight d8, knight e6, or, he's going to play b6, rook e8. Like, if I waste time here, you just give me like 2 random moves. This is what he's going to do, and he's not even worse anymore. All his weaknesses are solved, and the best I have is maybe, breaking on something like c5. So he is basically 2 moves away from completely stabilizing, and I'm down 30 minutes on the clock. But I'm very confident. I mean, I've played very well. I got my prep. I have the psychological factor of like, I played like this before with the other side. I know the struggle, and so here I thought for a bit and ultimately settled on h4, which I thought made sense for several reasons. Number one, I basically changed nothing. I create a slight weakness, but he will never get to it. And you can make moves like this sometimes on the same side, especially when you can use your h-pawn. There's a world in which, like, my pawn gets to h6, and suddenly his king can't escape the back rank. And see, it's like +4 in this position. Because once he starts losing the oxygen, I'm going to play bishop d5, rook f1. Another thing is, I can go king h2, so I can always get off the back rank. So if he ever gives me a check, I'm going to hide behind my bishop. I can also play bishop h3. And last but not least, again, GM lesson from my coach is like, just don't rush. Now, admittedly, I probably should have rushed. And even coach himself was like, I think you needed to be concrete. You maybe should have played queen e4, queen d5, going for the queen trade. I did see in my head that the queen trade was very good for me. But I thought, you know what? Let him self-destruct. So I was walking around here. I was enjoying my life. And then at some point I was thinking, wait, what if he tries to bring his knight into the game? What do I play against knight d8? And to my horror, he played it. And this reminds me of my game against Ryo Chen. Literally one of the last games that I ever played. In fact, I think I named my YouTube video of that game, I Quit. Not to be confused with my retirement from over the board chess. I thought I just missed the defensive resource at first. I was very annoyed. Knight a6 is on the way. And I can't really move anything because he's also threatening a4. So the first thing I thought of was rook b5. He's going to go knight e6, and maybe I play like queen f3. But then he goes c6. I already said taking this pawn is bad. Let's say I play rook b1. And he plays rook e8. He got a setup. I'm sitting there like, did I really just let him back into the game? I mean, like, what? I played a bunch of natural moves. How is that possible? And here I probably had my biggest brain blast of the tournament so far. I realized something. One of the things that my coach has told me is that I have to... It's late, so I'm forgetting the word. Essentially, I have to... formulate. That's what he said. I have to formulate the problem before I start calculating rook b5. But the problem is he wants to go knight e6. What if I stop it? And like, again, it's the way you get better at chess is you, and by the way, all these lessons are on the Patreon. Like, this is why I'm shouting it out. Like, I know, content, whatever. But yeah, it really helped me. And, I suddenly sat there and went, what if I go d5? Like, again, this is the way you learn. You learn by situational awareness and spotting these things. So, d5. Okay, a4 is hanging, c3 is hanging. But if I play d5, he takes on a4, c7 is hanging. My queen is going to take on c7. I threaten his rook. That looks awful. So, I mean, if he takes on c3, okay, I mean, it makes sense. But suddenly his king is weak, is like, do I really care about this pawn? What if I just infiltrate because his knight can't move? And I just went d5. I didn't calculate anything at all, besides the fact that taking both of these pawns doesn't lead to an immediate loss. And I was like, it has to be the best move. And it is. He played this, very logical. He defends this pawn and enables queen a4 again. And I thought about chucking the pawn. I thought about playing here, and playing this very fancy schmancy c5 now. But it doesn't work. Rookie, like, it's just no point sacrificing my bishop. And then here I found this, and this was really pretty. The fact that I move 2 pawns in a row to the 5th rank and protect my queen horizontally, like, that is, I knew right away c5 was the best move, but I still spent like 4 minutes, not the best time management. And he took on c3, and again, and this is a big blunder, but I didn't see much better. The engine, of course, is always like looking, saying that he can play c6 and defend himself. he took, and so now I need to win. I did everything right. Now I need to win. I have 13 and a half minutes. So my thought was queen here, rook here, queen e8, trade, put the rook on the 8th rank, slaughter. I was thinking queen e3, bishop f6, so I can't. So if rook e1, he takes my pawn on a4. So I quickly calculated queen a4, queen e8, takes king g7. I thought I wasn't winning here. Okay, engine does in fact think I am winning. So then I calculated bishop f6, rook f1, queen e7, which loses to queen e7, bishop e7, rook e1. And then I get to the back rank. So I calculated that, and I was like, okay, great. Like queen e3, right? He went here. And now rook e1 just wins. Of course, I saw rook e1. I didn't see why it was winning though. I saw rook e1, and I thought his whole idea was to go f5. I thought this was the idea, f5, and now I'm like, oh, this doesn't work. Oh my god, he's getting his king off the rank. That's it. Oh no. I thought, oh, he's so clever, f5. So what's funny is that rook e1 is the best move. I induce f5. So I play like this. And then I switch the attack to the diagonal. So I disallow the knight to re-enter the game, which is really clever, right? And if he plays rook b8, I just win. I play d6, king h8, and c6, or rook e7. Crazy. So the idea was rook e1 threatening this. He goes f5, and then I rotate the attack on the diagonal. So rook e1, f5, let's say queen b3, king h8, and now d6. Oh, not king h8, sorry. Like d6 or even queen b7. Actually, here the only winning move is c6. And then if take, I have the pin on the knight. No, that's not even the winning move. Oh, and now rook e7. Oh my god. You kind of see, like, it's absurd. You play like these different move orders. It's really hard to calculate all of that. Like all these different tricks. I mean, if you don't find something, you're not going to win. So, sometimes those of you watching the live game, you see a blunder. It's like, it's never as clear as you think. Like you see the engine threatens the infiltration, then rotates, then pushes, then doesn't take back and plays rook e7. It's like a combo of moves. So I went here. And I played this move for the same reason I played h4 a few moves prior. It was even a follow-up to the move. I want to go bishop h3. I want to move my king off of this and off the diagonal, and I want him to self-destruct. I want him to feel he doesn't have enough time, he doesn't have enough this, he doesn't have enough that, he's under substantial pressure, and he's going to collapse, and there is nothing he can do about it. Because that's how I felt, but I didn't see the knockout punch, so I wanted him to punch himself in the head. And I thought, maybe the best is h5, but you kind of don't want to play that, because then if you play f5, which was his idea, the g6 pawn is weaker. It's a lot going through his head. Now, he's up a lot on time. He definitely should think here and ultimately, figure it out. But sometimes when you're down on time, you start playing faster. c6. And I had been mentally preparing myself for c6. Oh, also bonus, I calculated this rook sacrifice, like knight b7, c6, like queen, no, it's with my king on h2. So I had been looking at this for a long time. Like h5, I was looking at rook b7, which is kind of a crazy idea. And then you play c6, and you can even go here. And he can't take my queen now because it's no longer a check, and I take his rook. It doesn't work for other reasons, but it was a very funny idea. And so, I thought he was going to, and he played c6. So c6 works if I push, because again, he gets to create the fortress. I'm probably still winning because like my pawn is so strong. It's a protected pass pawn. Like it must be a winning endgame. But the thought of a fortress down 30 minutes on the clock did not appeal to me. So instead, I re-threatened this and I set a trap. I briefly calculated like rook e1, and for a second I thought, oh no, his king is going to stop the infiltration. But I had a feeling he was going to play king f8 and completely miss my idea, and that's exactly what he did. Now that he put his king on the same line as my bishop, I can open this diagonal. He totally missed the idea. He told me after he thought my idea was to play like rook d1 and be active. Instead of king f8, he should have gone here, at which point I was going to trade the queens and play like rook d7 and basically just hang out on his 7th rank. I'm a pawn down, but he has no moves. maybe I'd win, maybe not. And he went here, and he completely missed queen d6 check. And the point is that now I have 2 pawns sneaking through. Rook e7 is on the way. And what's funny is, in this position, I played rook e7, but I didn't see the win after king g8. Like, I had 4 minutes, and I probably would have figured it out, but okay, at the very least, I can play d6, I thought, and I'm clearly winning somehow. I don't know how, but somehow. Like, I always have rook e8. He can't move off the rank. I'm going to play bishop f1, bishop c4, maybe. I thought I would, figure it out. But he made it himself. He played king f6, and I just played here. So my rook is now creating a full barrier, and bishop b2 is literally checkmate. So the only way he survives is going here. Bishop b2, king g6, rook g7, and it's mate. So I played d6, and he resigned. And we have 2.5 out of 3. And yeah, I mean, look, my friends, I played the top 2 players in this tournament in rounds 1 and 2. I had black against both of them. I went 1.5 out of 2, and then I was playing white against this young man who's clearly like a future star of Spain. We'll see how, how well he does in his career in chess, or if he sticks to chess, or, goes to university or something. But, and I have 2.5. And I feel like all of these games have been battles, but I've been sharp. I've been pretty optimistic and pretty positive while staying objective. And the good thing about this last win is, while I was happy, it felt nothing like the first win, which is a good sign, which means I'm no longer that shocked that I can defeat such strong players, because my official rating for the tournament is 23-22, and theirs is 24-71 or 25-35. I don't think there's a 150, 210 point gap between us. I think it's much closer. If you really want to argue, you could say I'm stronger. Not counting the, chickens before they hatch, or whatever the saying is. I'm simply saying, I look at players now and I'm like, it sucks being in my shoes because I lost so much rating because of carelessness. But I'm gonna go play my game, and so far so good. 6 more rounds to go. To get a grandmaster norm, I need 6.5 out of 9. It's a very difficult task, and you will read Reddit threads and comments like, "Oh, he's gonna get the norm." Folks, this process will take years, and I'm just happy to be back and playing the best chess that I've ever played while having this YouTube channel, ever. My previous best was maybe 2016. So 3 down, 6 to go. Check out the community challenge on Chessly. Be a part of history. It's the first one that we've ever done. It's for free. You can participate for free if you want. And we've got the Patreon as well. Road to GM. Look at that. Look at the GM lessons I'm taking. They're paying off. It's amazing. It's like a really cool to just be at the board and coming up with these ideas. If you watch the recaps from 3 years ago, I imagine it's like night and day. So that's all I have for you right now. Get out of here.